Welcome to the next episode of The Edge of Right. My name is Joe Graves. This is my partner, Matthew Thomas.
Hey, everybody.
And our associate, Alexa Fisher.
Hello.
We're just going to talk about general things around Vero Beach. Hope everybody had a good Independence Day.
Definitely.
I did.
And I heard you did something interesting.
I did.
Yeah? What did you do?
I did the paddle out. Is that what it's called? The paddle out to the
Do you know where you went?
Well, you did it.
The shipwreck, yeah.
Yeah, well,
You can
what's
call
the
whatever you
shipwreck?
want.
In 18...
But what's it called?
I don't know. I really don't know that
You
one.
just went there.
I know. No one told me this is the name of this ship. I heard that everyone swam to shore, though. Like, it wasn't like a...
Did you have a paddleboard?
No,
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I was like, did people survive? And they're like, yeah, everyone just swam to the beach.
You just swam?
No, I'm talking about when the ship crashed.
The original
Oh.
sailors, yeah. They did.
Yeah.
They did survive. Yeah, it's true. It's the boiler is what they call it.
Oh, is
'Cause
that why we have a
it's-
bar called the Boiler?
It is, and that's because the boiler of the ship is what remains, and that's what the flag sticks out of.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, it was like looking for U-boats, right?
I was
think
gonna
in
say
World War II, yeah.
I should have looked it
Ran
up, but I don't
ashore.
know much about the ship.
There's a sign that exists at the beach. That's what's the name of that beach? This is terrible. I'm born and raised in Vero. I still don't know. Where Citrus Grill is, and in Nino's,
Yeah.
that beach, like
Humiston?
There's a sign out there, I believe, for the
Yeah, I mean, people don't really realize, but in World War II, there were German U-boats right off the coast.
for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. So,
I didn't know that this was a thing that people did in Vero. My husband had never done it before, and he grew up here. I don't know if it just blew up this year or if it's always been a
every
thing.
year. It's been
But
every year.
there was a lot of people there.
I saw
I think
the
it was a little crowded this year, but it's been crowded.
I saw
for a
the
long time.
aerial views.
It was
wild.
crazy.
It's become a lot different. Like when I did it, I swam
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
crazy.
What?
So I swam.
No paddleboard?
Nothing. And when I say now, I was,
Did you have a floatie?
no. And now I was a swimmer, and I did it, and I'll tell you, it is like because you can see it. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, what's that? 200 yards? Like it's like I first of all, I got out there exhausted, but when it was time to come back,
The back was.
I
yeah.
literally was begging my friend. I had like my hand, like Jack in like the Titanic, like,
Yeah.
and people are like, listen, like pulling my finger back from their paddleboard. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it back. Like,
Rose.
there's just like hammerheads circling
Yeah.
underneath me.
I mean,
Yeah, they saw it.
Bull
Oh,
sharks
we
were
got one here.
we had a kayak, like a 2-seater kayak, a big one. So we put Blake in the middle of
Brilliant.
us. Dylan paddled. I don't even know why I brought a paddle because it was just too much.
So your husband paddled the whole way?
Pretty much.
Mhm.
Wow.
But we also had like our friend Parker. He's done a lot of training. He's done like that 100-mile run. Like he's insane, but he swam it. And every once in a while he's like chilling on the but he swam there and back. Blake jumped off like 6 times on the way in, and she's a swimmer. Like I'm like, I don't know. She's ever since she could crawl, she would gravitate toward water, but she was trying to dive down to the wreck like as far as she could. I was like,
How
I'll
old
try
is
to
Blake?
dive. 4. She had her goggles on. She was like, would get down like 6 feet and would have to turn it. But I'm 6 months pregnant, so like I can't go down. I tried to like swim down, and I would just float back up.
When I was in 9th grade, I had the my scariest shark experience ever was out at the boiler with my friends
God.
and his dad, and it was
What kind of shark?
bull shark.
Bull shark.
And it was a huge bull shark. The shark like was in the distance, and everyone's like, oh, dad goes, dad was Kim Pickering, who's a very, surfer, strong guy, has his, spear gun in his hand. And he says, into us, and we're like, whew, and this shark is coming at us. And dad kind of gets in front, and my buddy, who's, I guess, squeamish, we're kind of like, don't do anything to upset this bull shark, This thing was, and now looking back, the fish has gotten bigger, but like
How
this
would you
shark
upset
was,
the bull shark? Like
I tell you,
like
because
say
he did.
something about his brother
No,
or something?
I'll tell you how we do it, the exact way that it happened. So then my buddy sees, who's a little bit skittish, he sees the bull shark and goes, underwater, and literally uses me and my friend to like repel himself and start splashing The
you
bull
don't
sharks
wanna-
did not like that.
You don't want
This thing went crazy. This bull shark was like, it just like disappeared and like came back, and like the dad like went to fight it with the spear gun while we just like fled for our lives. And luckily we all made it out alive. Nothing happened, but that bull shark was terrifying. It looked like
What's the breeding ground?
I was gonna say,
it was probably like a mama, and it was big. Like it felt like a school bus. I know it wasn't that big, but I mean, I was like, it could have like just
the coast.
the baby
like-
bull sharks are born in the rivers here, and then they just
It's a breeding ground.
yeah.
they go in the rivers to breed.
So I grew up in Naples. I went, I snorkeled and fished in the Keys and the Bahamas my whole life. I don't know how my mom would let me and my little sister we would all just be like snorkeling for like by ourselves. Like I've seen we were in the Keys in the grass flats, like looking for lobster. We were young, like elementary school, and there was a huge hammerhead on that. It was like bigger than our boat. I'll never forget. It was so scary. Like it didn't bother us, but
It's
like
cool
just
to see a hammerhead though.
Yeah,
in
hammerheads are cool
the
to
grassy
see.
flats in the Keys. Like it was just like so. I didn't become afraid of it until I think I had a kid, and I was like, I was just afraid to put my kid in the water. Like I don't know, just maybe like a motherly fear. But out there were so many people that I was like, yeah, I'm not afraid of sharks out here. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I just felt
it's just number
secure.
of
There was like
odds.
hundreds of us out there. It was pretty clear. I mean, it was maybe a little murky because everyone was like swimming, but I mean, it was like relatively clear. It was like flat. It was a nice time. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, and then everyone goes out there and pops champagne and
Yeah,
gets.
I did see that.
I guess gets intoxicated.
People have some sick setups like on their paddle boards, and they have like, it's all just very nicely, conveniently put together. I was like, wow, this is nice.
It's a cool little thing for people to
Yeah,
do.
it's a great tradition for
Yeah.
Vero.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, what else was going on during the Independence Day?
It was we were a little nervous about the fireworks ending. It was 250 years this year, so the fireworks show I think was a little extra special for us. I think they put on a little bit extra show.
There was smoke. Did you smoke that was?
I thought they had caught fire at Memorial Island at one point, but I guess
I
they
was
were-
over on
It was
the west side, and the smoke was unbelievable. I mean, it was. I've never seen that much smoke for any 4th of July fireworks that we've had here in Vero. But did you saw the smoke too?
Yeah, you could see it.
So it was intense, and everybody, fireworks were coming from all over, town. Like you could see, I wasn't just at the Riverside and then just continued. So, yeah, my Colombian daughters were a little bit like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, this is how us crazy Americans celebrate, Independence Day.
My first job was working for a fireworks stand.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Sky
In
King
Vero?
Fireworks.
Back
No,
when they
it's
were illegal?
PSL. Because St. Lucie could sell the legit fireworks, and Indian River couldn't.
Well,
so
you had to sign an affidavit saying they were to scare birds, right?
Well, I don't know. I just worked like literally moving boxes from trailer to trailer, and like even my mom was terrified I did that. I was making $6 an hour.
How old were you?
I was.
Get paid cash.
I think my dad knew the owner, so I think I was like just about to turn 15. So I don't think I was really supposed to work at first. Then I worked 15, 16. But we would work 12-hour days moving boxes from trailer to trailer. And you would always hear, like, in some other part of Florida, how, like, a box of, Black Cat, mortars went off in the back of the trailer because it was so hot. And then it would turn the trailer into, like, and I don't mean to laugh, it would turn the trailer into, like a bomb. Basically, and like he would be like, this kid lost his arm, and you're doing this for $6 an hour, and I'm like, my dad's like, it's got to be a working man, and it caused like a big problem in my.
You see that truck that caught fire with fireworks, and it was.
No, it makes sense though. I mean, there's no protection. I mean, they're just throwing Black Cat mortars in there into a trailer that's 500 degrees.
Yeah, so I was at the Tides the other night. I know that they've had
there not too long ago.
Big news lately. They were going to move, and now they decided not to. They're just going to shut down and renovate, which I think is a great move. I mean, there's just something about the ambiance of that restaurant.
Been around so long.
Yeah, that atmosphere, I don't think could be reproduced in a new building. And not only is the food great, but it's just you go there. The waiters and the servers have been there for so long, and everybody and. It just feels warm and quaint. It's very Vero Beach. Like if you're new to the area or coming to visit, the Tides, I think, is a must. Ocean Grill is great. It's got the best view, probably of any restaurant. Maybe Cobalt would argue with that, but, um, if you
So
wanna
Citrus has a really good view too.
Yeah, Citrus has a good
We
yeah.
we used to have a bunch of restaurants like that when I was growing up, which were like French American bistro type white tablecloth, like
Mhm.
Two Tangos, but what are some other ones like Black Pearl, Ellie's, and it just seems like they kind of like fell out of vogue. But the Tides has always been like sort of like the gold star of that type of food. And it's really, I think people think it's going to comparatively, it's not too much. It's not like it's more expensive than anywhere else, which
It's
is
not.
interesting too.
It's not. I mean, Bobby's
It
is one
can
of
be,
my
but
favorite.
love
I love
Bobby's.
going to Bobby's.
I stand by that their chicken fingers are homemade, but that's a controversial statement. But I believe it.
Chicken fingers.
Homemade.
Like chicken fingers and chicken nuggets weren't a thing
But you're
until
not making a homemade chicken nugget.
when we started having kids.
No one's ever made a homemade chicken
You would
nugget.
get like
Maybe
bags of
someone.
nuggets, and it was kind of like a quick meal that you could make for your kids. And now it's just become a whole thing. We got restaurants, Raising Cane's and Chick-fil-A and all
Raising
McDonald's. And
Cane.
now everybody's,
That sounds so
with chicken nuggets. It's kind of something that's changed over.
Has anybody tried the Wahlburger yet?
No, I haven't.
Where is that?
It's over, I think, by like Ruby Tuesdays, maybe.
I think they're
Is that
taking.
new?
Yeah, they took over the. I know they were taking over. I thought they were serving out of a food truck on Home
maybe.
Depot, but I see that they're on DoorDash.
Yeah, Mark
Oh.
Wahlburgers are coming to town, or they did, but no one's had them. No, see, this is a
I think-
problem. This is what I did. I knew I didn't want Wahlburgers.
We got
Melanie's
Casey's
going
and
crazy
Bobby's
over
and-
Mark Wahlberg.
I think Casey's and Bobby's and Nick's.
Mark Wahlberg. He's short. You do? You don't care. All right.
She was like,
Understood.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to beat the burger joints we have in town. I think.
Casey's is good. I went to Casey's after the paddle out. A well-deserved
Yeah.
cheeseburger.
Black and chicken peppers. That's the move at Casey.
Actually, someone I was with had a blackened chicken
Black and
sandwich. I was
chicken
like, that
peppers.
actually
Yeah,
looks pretty
it's
good.
Yeah.
phenomenal.
they-
They don't know mayo, just some like honey, black and chicken peppers. You put it down.
Right
Yep, write that down, everybody.
Yeah,
They're good.
Casey's is a big Vero tradition.
Yep.
Nick's big Vero tradition. And Nick's is just to me is just like how things used to be. Kind of when you go in there and same thing with all the servers have been there and
They make a good wing.
yeah, the best wings I think in Vero are at Nick's. And everything's freshly made there, so you have to if you're going there for wings, just order because you have to wait 20 minutes for them to cook them. You're not going to get wings that have been sitting around under a hot light or something like that.
Fryer.
Yeah, so it's the best thing I think, and it's a cool Vero tradition. And now we got like Hogan Yards. Have you been out there yet?
No, I haven't, but I know people who have. They really like it. I don't. I'm not big on just
Barbecue?
personally. No, I don't mind barbecue, but like the heavy beers or whatever that
Oh.
I don't know that that's even what they're serving because I haven't been out there. But
Yeah, they
that's
teamed
just
up
not,
with
like, always like,
I think Orchid Island Brewery.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I'm sure they're doing a great job. I know the people behind it, and I know that everything they do is great, and everybody seems to love it. I just
I
haven't
think
had the
it's
chance.
also good
waiting
for
for it.
kids.
Yeah, waiting for it to cool down maybe a little bit. But
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for your kids to run and play,
Great.
Yeah, I think it's a
from
great.
what I've heard.
Yeah, I think
I
it's a
haven't
good
been.
family place. We went there on opening weekend and it was just packed. So, I think once things calm down a little bit and it's easier to get a table and sit and eat, I don't.
I saw something new about Vero that I thought was very interesting. Christie's is no longer Christie's. It's Palm Beach Fitness Club.
Yeah, my daughter goes there for gymnastics.
So is it officially Palm Beach Fitness Club?
I think that they're like transitioning. I think it says Palm Beach on the
Sign, yeah.
sign now, but I feel like it's still Christie's Gymnastics. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
well,
Maybe they're separate, but
Christy Wade sold it a while ago.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that's like a,
But I
Palm Beach
wouldn't
Fitness
like
Club
it.
is a
Yeah.
big deal. I mean, that's.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. If it's associated with the one down in Palm Beach, it's
What?
nice, like swanky.
Sure it is. I don't know. Christy's just kind of like a well-known name and very.
Yeah, totally. Christie's been around for a long time.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, you grew up here. I lived here, as a kid. My dad was the pastor at First Baptist, and seen a lot of change. I mean, back in those days, and my dad was like, I've just been going through a lot of his old documents, but like 68 to 71 too. It was really cool back then because it was a really small town and we had the Dodgers then. And so like the Dodger players would come to church. My sisters like would babysit for Dodger players.
Yeah.
And I used to have this, I had this Don Sutton uniform in little number 20. And I just found an autographed picture. That guy's a Hall of Famer. But you'd see him around town. Bobby's was a big hangout, for the Dodgers. And even
Totally.
after we moved back, the Dodgers were still here. What a loss that was for Vero. That was
That was tough.
having the Dodgers for spring training here in this town was just amazing. I'm 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 sorry things work the way they do. Now I think professional sports has really changed. The money, and where they went out to Arizona, they just got them a new facility and
There was like a short run in West Palm maybe before they went out to Arizona. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Hot.
what's that?
It would be very hot to
Yeah,
practice baseball.
spring is pretty nice. So we had a nice spring here this year, I think. But you're sitting right there and the players are like
We,
it just was such a unique
we
experience.
had season tickets 3 rows back from the visitors bench. So like I could walk up and get,
Yeah,
like when they played the
like
Dodgers.
Thomas was like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, everybody, Mike Piazza, Sandy Koufax would be out there,
Yeah.
freaking Avery, Schultz. I mean, a lot of, some guys that were really big Hall of Fame guys that would just be there. But I think I even had a job. My sister ended up working for Lasorda doing the marketing for Vero Beach Dodgers before she went on to trip or single A in South Carolina. But I worked there too, and I remember my sister got me a job working for the Dodgertown.
Where have you not worked?
I know.
A couple. This is really just a few places. But yeah. So I have worked at a few, but I worked a summer at Dodgertown, and I remember I was so excited. My sister's like, "You're gonna get the work." My sister's like the head of the marketing. I got you a job. You're gonna work in the market. I'm like, okay. Like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like bat boy? Like what? I was like, am I gonna like pitch to the guys, warm them up? You're slanging hot dogs, and I go, okay, that's cool. So if you remember the stadium, in the middle of right behind home plate, it was where the announcer would be, and it was like this big wall. So there was it was like behind home plate, there was seating, but you would go behind, and then that's where the concessions were. There was one booth that was directly behind the wall that allowed you to see nothing.
I think
That is the wall that they put. That is the booth they put me in. And I remember I was sitting there and going, "This is." I was like, "What do you have to do to like get in that booth?" And they're like, "Oh, like Susie's booth." And I'm like, "Yeah." It was like, "I don't know. Work here 30 years." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I didn't get to see any of the baseball, but it was still cool to be able to say I worked there.
Yeah, I mean, Vero's really changed. I remember I went with my dad on a visitation. Somebody visited the church, and we were going out, and I was like, where in the heck are we? We're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's where the Home Depot is.
Yeah, I worked at the Home Depot. No, I'm just kidding.
Once you got past 43rd, man, it was like
it was nothing.
Yeah,
it was all woods.
Yeah, so Vero is. I mean, some people are going to say it's bad, and some people are going to say it's good. I mean, there are a lot of people still moving in. We got subdivisions going up, everywhere. People, Vero's no longer a secret.
No. But like you couldn't get like Sundays. It was just different because now it's like if I were to tell people like, oh, you can't get delivery food on Sunday except Chinese food, people be like, what?
No, it's true. I
mean,
talk about
that's
that
how it
all the
was.
time.
It's like, come on.
Sometimes I'm like, wait, this place isn't open on Sunday or Monday. Or
Yeah.
you can't get a bagel on,
Or-
you know what I mean?
or-
Like,
drive around 9 o'clock.
yeah.
Yeah,
If it's not
go
open till
get a good
11.
restaurant at 9 o'clock. You walk into a restaurant and you try to get a table at 9 o'clock. That chef is going to stick his head out the window. Like, who is this? And why do I hate you so much?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're shut down.
Yeah, we shut down at 8:15. It says you're open till 10. It's like, yeah, well, we're not.
Yeah. I think, as far as like change goes, I mean, but I think just Vero is really unique in that, with the height restrictions that we have on buildings, our beach is unique, because we don't have condos up and down. It's accessible. We have a lot of good open public beach. And, people are discovering it. and have discovered it, and I mean, I think it's paradise. It's a great place. I don't blame people for wanting to stay or to come or at
No.
least visit. Um, you know, but yeah, I think there's things like that's why I think things like Bobby's are so great because you go into Bobby's and it's kind of a going back to the way things were stuff like that. So I know your husband's here from Vero.
Mhm.
He introduced you to the swim out, even though he hadn't done it
No.
himself. Okay, so you're embracing the Vero
Yeah.
traditions, and what else have you discovered since moving here?
What else have I discovered? Like I said, that Sundays, like there's not, you know, there's like very little like breakfast spots or places just are like we enjoy our Sundays too. We don't want to run a business on Sunday. Like we're like we're closing. You know what I mean? Like just places, it's just way more. I mean, from Fort Lauderdale, it's way more laid back. Hours are way different.
We can give
But
you some breakfast spots on Sundays. There's some good breakfast
Yeah.
spots.
well, no, I mean, but
Yeah,
even
there's
like
some
on
good
Monday,
brunch.
what about like a bagel place?
They have bagel places. We can get you a bagel on
Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah, you
Einstein,
ever heard of that, Jim? Dunkin'
Brooklyn,
Donuts? Let me
Brooklyn Water.
expand your culinary palate.
Brooklyn Water. I think they still
Mhm.
import water from New
Yeah, they
York.
do.
Yeah.
Scam. No, I'm just
They
mad.
do.
I'm just
I don't
kidding.
know,
I'm just
actually,
kidding.
yeah.
Sure they do.
I don't know.
Careful.
I'm just kidding.
But I mean, like
That's
from
the
Naples
statement of
too.
Matthew Thomas, not reflective of the opinion or
I'm just
expectations of
being
great
funny.
Thomas.
I'm sure they fly it in via chopper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing about New York pizza. They say it's the water
Right.
that makes the pizza crust so unique. And so there are other restaurants that, advertise that they bring in water from New York. So tap water from New York evidently is the key to making good pizza crust.
Do you drive it in a truck?
Do you fly it in a plane?
I think it'd be more economical to probably drive it in a truck, FedEx or UPS or something like that.
Yeah.
I actually know a guy who just started that kind of business. He like drives the trucks for
Yeah,
to fill your pool or to like just large amounts of water.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you could probably save some money doing that instead of using the city water, especially now the city water rates are going up.
Well,
But
want to get off on water, but yeah, we've done. There's some filtering stuff that's happening right now that's very unique. With
I got
water.
one of those
Gonna
Aqua
change the
True,
world.
one of those, where they can make water out of air. You see that?
I don't mean to say this again, but I was involved with a company a long time ago. They were trying to develop.
I was part of the research and development
And it
team.
fell through. It couldn't do it.
We're going to solve the world's water
literally,
problems.
we're very close. We actually are because
You just
if
practice
they could do
law
it,
part time, don't you?
No, if they could do that, if they could do it, it could change the world. You could take these filtering systems. I think there's actually like a cohort to try to keep them down. To be quite honest with you,
What are you talking about? Desalinization? Or
yeah. Like
we've been
literally
doing that for years in the Navy.
I'm talking about taking like dirt, like dirty, even
Muddy
stuff
water.
with like mud and like you could have like blood in it or urine in it and having it completely filtered. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, like the dirtiest of the dirty water and having it completely filtered to drink water would change the world.
Water?
If it was completely filtered and ran through, and you brought that to India to be able to to give them an option of consumable water from like their dirty sources, it would completely change the world.
Yeah,
So desalinization has been around. I mean, I was on a '60s era submarine. We made our own water. We had desalinization. That's how we made water when we were at sea.
From the salt, from the ocean?
salt water. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like, why isn't that done?
It takes power. So we had a nuclear reactor, so we had unlimited power basically, but it can be done and it has been done. I think there's like in the Middle East, they're using it, desalinization plant. It just always becomes a cost factor. But I was just reading about new technology where they can make water out of air. There's moisture in the air, take the moisture out of the air and make water, which would seem to me to be a really cool technology. Yeah, I was looking at, a lot of the bottled water that you buy is just filtered. So we made the jump. We got an Aqua True water filter. And really, I mean, you can taste the difference.
Yeah, you can.
It's, so I used to buy bottled water and then I bottled water. And then, you see about the microplastics being in the farthest reaches of the world. Like I really try to cut down on plastic consumption because they found it in the most remote areas of the world. It's, we got to really care about our environment, I think, and pollution. But the water filter, AquaTrue, works great, kind of off subject.
The river's been looking great recently too, by the way.
Yeah, I saw a report that's cleaning up. I know they've been trying to repair the grass flats and all that sort of stuff. And, it's always been great around the inlets, Sebastian and Fort Pierce, where they get the flush of water.
Crystal clear recently.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? You can see all the way down to the bottom. They're 30 feet, 40
So you can see all the bull sharks?
Where's this at?
Out by the cut, which is the Fort Pierce Inlet. Once you start getting a little bit close, you see it start to lighten up. But when you get out, right now, beautiful. It's crisp.
Yeah. So the challenge has always been in between Fort Pierce and Sebastian because they don't have a natural flushing system, and it was talked about for years.
Dredging it out.
I think at JC Park there's a real narrow area that you could use to cut a new inlet.
Yep.
That's really what the problem is in Indian River. And I think, I think that there's been a lot of work at trying to cut down on pollution. And I think local government, requiring homeowners to go to step system versus, tanks, septic tanks. I think also, the city of Vero Beach, Rob Bolton, when I was there, had an idea about reclaiming water out of one of the main canals and then using that, processing it and using it for water to reclaim water for golf courses and people to water their yards. So I think is a really smart idea.
Smart.
So I think that I've seen a push from local governments and so forth to try to help us, clean up. I mean, the Indian River, is a tremendous ecosystem.
It's a gem.
And, we need to take care of it. And when I was a kid and we used to, we'd call it going up the river, but there'd be like a bunch of families and you get your boat and then there was an island in the river. Since there's dilapidated and run down now, but you'd go and then, the moms would cook breakfast and then you'd go skiing and, the water was there back when we had fiddler crabs.
Yeah.
A lot of that kind of stuff has kind of disappeared because of the pollution and stuff.
Runoff, all that. Yeah.
But I think people are a lot more aware of it now. And I think people want to try to help. And that's really where it starts, pick people, just little things like picking up your dog waste and changing up to the step system. I think, you never saw people picking up dog waste, 20 years ago, but now they do. Everybody responsible dog owners have their little, and you can get one at Graves Thomas. We have them. If you need a little dispenser with bags to pick up your dog waste, you can drop by and we'll give you some. So, when you look at these things, around Vero, it really is such a unique area. The other thing I think that's changed with state law is the sailboat moorings and mooring off. And people, I know when I was on city council, people would say, well, what's the problem with that? The problem is when they're not anchored up at the Vero and they're anchored off somewhere, where's the waste going, from those boats? And if you're moored at the Vero Beach Marina, then you have a buoy, you don't have to go up to the dock, but they have plenty of spots for boats to moor, and they have a pump out boat that comes by and, will pump you out. And you're not supposed to be dumping waste into the river, but if you're anchored out and you're not pumping out,
what you're doing.
What's going on?
That's nasty.
That's the concern. Well, that's the concern.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
I think that's why. That's what I want to talk about because people are like, what's the problem with letting someone anchor? And that's the problem. And so I've seen the city of Vero Beach. The police department got a boat to kind of monitor that more closely. The sheriff's office has, so I appreciate, law enforcement and our local governments, recognizing that. I think they just passed a law making it easier to, remove derelict boats. I know we have one in the river now.
There's always been a couple.
It's kind of based on maritime law, it's kind of a process to get it done. And so that definitely,
expensive too.
If someone's abandoned it's like 10, 15.
That's why they do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they do it, because they don't want to. They just want to leave it and then let it sink. And
Yeah,
so I think there should be severe sanctions for that. I mean, if
totally.
somebody does that and puts it on the public, the taxpayer, to take care of it.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got this boat. I mean, that's totally unfair. If you don't want the boat anymore, then dispose of it the right way. Don't just leave it, for the taxpayer to have to pick it up. Um, so what about coffee places? We're all drinking Starbucks.
yeah. But
Sorry.
we do have a good bunch of great
Yeah.
local coffee
We have
places.
really cool, I mean, 1420 downtown, Rio Coco downtown,
I love Chelsea's.
Chelsea's. Is that where you just went? You just went the other day to someplace and put it on social media. Honey Cafe. Okay, I got the earphones on. Okay.
The legal profession calls me. I have a deposition, 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, we'll wrap this up. Um, you know, what's one thing if somebody were coming to Vero, Matthew, what's one thing that they absolutely would have to do?
They got to check out something on the water. I think that we live, especially in Vero, if you can do it. I think it's a little bit like Venice of the South. I mean, you could take a trip and go have lunch on the water, go out to the ocean on the water, kind of taking advantage of that, component, because the beach and the river to me is what really, it's like the heartbeat of the city. And so I think that's the most important thing that they could possibly do. And if they don't want that and they want to walk the land, I would say go walk like Jungle Trail or something like that. I think
Yeah,
that's
Jungle
really
Trail's
cool.
cool. We didn't talk about that.
Or
But
ELC. I really love the ELC.
we have two. Not that all the hotels on the beach they all have their flavor, but we have Costa and we have Vero Beach Hotel, which I think, like, if you're coming into the area, like I think Vero Beach is not Kempton; it's managed by Kempton, but
Mhm.
it's really,
That's an IHG, which is
yeah, IHG. So, which is a Kempton brand. So, it's really unique. It really feels like a more boutique hotel. It doesn't feel like a mass brand hotel. Costa does too. I think Heaton's, I mean, we went to Heaton's on Easter, didn't have a reservation, but they had a tall table set up right by the beach, and it was just idyllic, sitting there eating and looking out at the water. That's what Vero Beach has in store. If you're coming to visit, give us a call. We'll give you some recommendations. If you're new to the area, give us a call. Happy to talk to you about some things. And, if you have any questions, legal questions or questions whatsoever, we'll try to help you the best we can. But that's all for today. Thank you for watching this episode of The Edge of Right.